Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. I'm your host, Viz, and today our special guest is Calem MacDonald, who is starring in Kids vs. Aliens, coming to theaters, digital, and video on demand January 20th. Calem, thank you so much for being here today. How's it going, man?
It's good. Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. I love your character. So let's get started with Billy. And where do we start with Billy? So when you first auditioned for the role of Billy in Kids vs. Aliens, did you have any idea or scope of the type of character you were going to be playing?
Yeah, before I officially signed on to do the role, Jason sent me the script and I took a read through before I ended up meeting with him and confirming to do the role. But yeah, I knew what was in store and I had a meeting with Jason before we actually started shooting and we fully talked about it. We got into the role and we got talking about Billy and then, Nova Scotian stuff and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I was fully aware of kind of what I was getting into.
Okay. Now, Billy is beyond just a bully. He's mean and abusive and a whole bunch of other stuff. As an actor, what kind of a backstory did you build for your character to help you get into that mindset?
I always forget to talk about this because this was a crucial part when me and Jason first had that meeting. So he told me to look at one of his inspirations. He told me to watch like a reality TV show called F Boy Island.
Hmm.
So he's like, go watch that, and you know, this is kind of what I'm thinking for the character. So I watched that. I was like, oh my God, all these guys suck. It's basically kind of, two-faced. Billy's two-faced. He's showing one thing to Samantha, and he has obviously has ulterior motives, wants to throw a party, all that stuff. But yeah, that was the first kind of piece of Billy that I built on, and then I kind of like to do a little bit of homework myself, so I made up. This wasn't in the script or anything, and Jason never mentioned this, but I kind of made it up that maybe Billy had a rough childhood growing up and just didn't feel loved, and in that case, he just kind of projected all of that negativity onto other people and just didn't want anybody else to feel like that. And that helps me rather than him just being like a horrible person all around. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It kind of gives me something to pull from. So it kind of helps on the day.
And that makes total sense. When I was watching the film and I was seeing Billy do his thing, I mean, that was the first thing that popped in my mind. What kind of parental influence did this guy have to be the way he is? So I'm totally with you there. When you read the entire script, not just Billy, but just the entire story itself, what did you think of it? You're like, wow, were you really excited and loved the script and the story and were really excited to see what the end product would look like?
Yeah, I haven't been, I'm not too used to reading scripts like that in general, with how much goes on in the film.
Mm-hmm.
So reading it just on paper was a bit intimidating. I wasn't sure how it would come out. I wasn't sure because I knew at the time I knew a little bit about Jason, not too much. This was before I kind of looked into all of his other work.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know. Like I don't know what to make of it. And then I watched all of his other stuff, like his Slumber Party Alien Abduction, Hobo with a Shot. I knew of Hobo with a Shotgun, but watched that again and just all of his other shorts that he made. And I'm like, oh my, like if it comes out anything remotely close to these, other things that he's made, it's going to be incredible. So yeah, that was my first kind of, and then I had a meeting with Jason, and he completely sold it on me. Like the way he works and the way he talks about movies and the way he thinks was super inspiring, and I knew I couldn't not do it.
Absolutely. Now, when people see antagonists, bad guys on the screen, they try to find some redeeming quality in their story arc. For Billy, I gotta tell you, man, I didn't see any redeeming qualities. I think he is such a damaged kid from, like we talked about, his probably growing up experiences. What's your take on that? Do you think there's anything redeemable about Billy?
Yeah, it's tough to say because not spoiling anything, but throughout the film, it's tough to like the guy.
Yeah.
He shows the soft side of him. That's obviously convincing to Sam, and Sam's not a dumb person by
No.
any means. So there's some sort of convincing part of him that it could be it's believable, and it could be. it could be real.
And that
But
makes him sort of
so
like a master manipulator, though, as well.
that's what I was trying to get at. Yeah, he's so believable and so real as that fake character that he's putting on for Sam that
Hmm.
it's it's hard to have any empathy for him. But I guess on the day, in a sense, I kind of felt like, okay, this is such a, you know, this is just the actor thinking, I guess. It's not actually how I would think of someone in real life, but he's so good at manipulating.
Hmm.
It's hard to overlook that,
Yeah.
and that's his quality of just being that horrible type of person. And that was what I kind of like to pull from. Another thing I like to pull from was how he could kind of switch on the fly and be, you know, turned around 1 minute talking to himself about, this party's going to be insane, and then turn right around and give Sam, the complete 180 of, nice Billy.
And that's a testament to you and your acting because you really pulled it off. You nailed it. Uh, to make the character really just so in a split second you have good Billy, and then the next second you see this totally different side of Billy.
And there was
Now,
one,
oh,
sorry to interrupt, but there was one day, just speaking on that, where it's close to the start of the film. Billy comes to Sam's house, with, wanting to, get to know her.
mm-hmm,
And we were shooting it how Sam couldn't see my face, but the camera was on me. So Sam would be behind me
yeah,
where that sign is. And Jason was like, kind of mumble to your, I don't even know if this was in the script, but like mumble to yourself, like this house is perfect, and like kind of show the real Billy on
yeah.
this angle. And then when we turn around, Sam sees my face, and it's just kind of, and then he said, okay, play the fake Billy on this angle. So she
Oh,
doesn't see anything. He's kind of thinking to himself, and then flips around. So it's kind of switching on the fly. And Jason helped me with that on the day. He was like, this would be a cool idea. I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. That's
that
so sick.
is awesome. Now, our guest yesterday was Dominic Marice, and when I asked him about Billy, he told us on how when the scene was ready to shoot, you would go into like this sort of like method type acting to get into the character, and it was a testament again on how you really wanted to get into the mindset of Billy. Is that an approach you use with all your characters, or was Billy on such a different level for you that you needed to do that to get into his headspace?
I wouldn't necessarily, I guess it's a method, kind of. I
Hmm.
don't, just to clarify, I wasn't like walking around as Billy or
No,
anything like
yeah.
that. I know a lot of people, a lot of those crew members and actors are my friends. And if I would ever do that, I would never work in Halifax or Nova Scotia again. But I guess I kind of relate it back to like doing sports and just kind of needing to get in the zone. Like maybe just take a few breaths, like close your eyes, whatever you need to do to like kind of focus up, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the film set, and sometimes you're on your phone and you're texting your girlfriend or your mom or whatever. So it's nice to just take a few seconds and just shut off and just it's kind of like meditative a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kind of like shut things down, shut things off and slow things down, and just kind of get in the zone, get in the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, I use that usually for the characters that I'm doing if I'm feeling, a bit anxious or a bit, unfocused. Just kind of just take a few minutes. But for Billy, I felt like I did that a lot because there's so many intense scenes where I
Hmm.
needed to be, projecting a lot of whatever the emotion was. I needed to project a lot, and that just kind of helped me either calm down or hype myself up. Just jump in place for a sec, shake it off. Get the
Absolutely.
heart pumping a little bit. Yeah.
Now, a lot of actors love playing the antagonist, the bad guy. Did you have a lot of experience prior playing a bad, person, backstabber, let's say? Or was this really the first really bad role that you've had? And you try to have some fun with it. So, try to have some fun in being the bad guy.
Yeah. No, I think this is the first I played like bad characters in the past, but they're not like nothing like Billy,
Nothing like
not
Billy.
abusive, not um evil. But no, this was the first time that I've played someone like this, and it was really fun. It was super fun. I remember and after we screened it in Halifax a couple months ago, and I was walking movie ended and I was walking down. I got booed a little bit. All these people were from Halifax. I knew half of them. But like there's a little bit of a boo, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like
That
people
means you
hate it
did your
so
job
much.
correctly.
Yeah, yeah. That's also cool. That it would be cool to be the hero in that in
Yeah.
some cases too, because then maybe you'd get a woo or something from, or people would be, happy to see you rather than like, oh, it's that guy. I hated him for an hour, 15 minutes. But no, it was a really really fun experience because I could kind of yell at kids for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, however long the scene was, and then they'd yell cut, and we can just kind of hang out and fool around and
Be
just go
friends.
back to normal. Yeah.
When you were having your conversations with Jason before production started, was he very open to any ideas that you wanted to bring to the character of Billy?
Yeah, I think he wanted that. I think he wanted, and he mentioned this a lot of like, I'm a lot older than you guys are. If there's anything in the script that doesn't feel real or doesn't feel right for kids nowadays or for teenagers, whatever, bring it up to me either before production, just table read
Hmm.
on set, bring up like what notes you have. If you feel like anything's off, like let me know, which is like awesome. He's such a good collaborator, and it
Yeah.
felt so nice to have that sort of freedom because on the opposite end of that, there's filmmakers and screenwriters who would, you know, what's
It's
what's on the
their
page is
way
on
or
the
the
page.
highway.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's whoever said it is that's up to them. But for
Yeah.
this, it was so nice as an actor to just be able to go and play and have fun
And, and just
and
have it
bring my own ideas to the table and not feel anxious about it.
and have it just be a collaborative experience. Now, without giving away any spoilers, there is this really intense scene with Billy where he sort of crosses the line in what he does. We're not going to say what it is, we're not giving away any spoilers, but my question to you is, do you think that is just Billy's personality coming out, or is it Billy fearing for his own life, and that's what causes him to do what he does?
I feel like I played him so narcissistic, and in the script he's so narcissistic and full of himself that he's only thinking about himself. There's
Hmm.
nobody else, and everyone else is expendable. So he's just thinking about himself the entire time, and that's what it can. It's yeah, it was just that's the way it was kind of written and the way I played him and the way I liked to play him. It was great because it led to so many different choices on the day and so many different reactions from the other actors as well.
Watching that myself, it surprised me. I'm like, whoa. I mean, it was a cool surprise because it's not something you normally see. Did you like that aspect that was written into the script and it was not cut in the last moment, fearing any lashback or anything? I mean, did you enjoy that they kept that in there?
Yeah, I liked beginning to end. There's a lot of stuff that they added actually. Not a lot of stuff was removed from the original script. A lot of stuff was just kind of added on. I
Okay.
was like, it kept getting like better and better as the revisions were going. So yeah, I loved the way that John and Jason wrote the character. It was a blast to play.
I
And
can
when people watch it,
imagine.
I'm sure
Not
they'll be surprised.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I definitely was. The film presented you guys in these very challenging physical environments. The water, the cold. It just looked really physically challenging. How did you handle all those physically challenging moments? Was it difficult?
I was spared for the most part. I was actually kind of jealous because there's a huge water tank that they do survival training in
Yeah,
near my in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and a lot of the kids got to go, and I didn't get to go to the fun wave water tank. But that was all like heated pool, and that was fun for them. But I think the only day where I had uh, any challenges was we were shooting. Our studio was in this kind of like it was a old printing press warehouse. It wasn't an
mm-hmm.
actual like studio, but there's a lot of productions that get shot there. And it was like December, so it's a little cold in there.
Yeah,
And for one scene, there was it needed to be in a pool in water, but they used like I think it was like a Walmart above ground pool, and I was in and out of that like it was my last day actually shooting. I was in and out of that all day, all day, all day,
Oh man.
and like kind of soaking wet in like my costume that I had on, and it wasn't bad at all. But that compared to other actors, like Isaiah had to get, you know, into freezing cold water. I know Dominic and a couple of the other kids did, but yeah, I was spared compared to everybody else.
Now, as I was reading up on you, I found this very interesting. You have a bachelor's, or in the process of getting a bachelor's in science, and you're an aviation lover. I find that interesting because I have a bachelor's in technology, and I have my A&P as an aircraft mechanic. And
Oh, cool.
as soon as I graduated college, way back when, I went and worked for the airlines for a good decade. Um, Tell us about your love of aviation. And I also read that while you were in school is when you were shooting Umbrella Academy. And how did you juggle the two?
Yeah. Just your last point. Usually, when like the last few years that I've been shooting things has been during school, which was good because it was a job and I'm able to
Yeah,
pay for a little bit of school, which is great. And on the downside, it's you're away from school for a long time, so it's hard to keep up with the classes. But yeah, my I took a 4-year course at Mount Allison University for it's a Bachelor of Science in Aviation. So I just completed my commercial pilot's license. I have a couple of different multi-engine rating and IFR rating.
congratulations, man. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I'm going back to school actually on Monday to do my instructor rating at
Uh-huh.
Moncton, my college. But yeah, I for some reason it was just in me. I just wanted to fly planes. I think I did a career project in like grade 6 and put it all on a big Bristol board and said I want to be a pilot and just put a bunch of stuff on it. Grade
Yeah.
6 would.
For
But yeah,
pe-
it just was in me for this, and that was like the only thing I wanted to do after high school was either act or work in film, I guess. Acting it was my priority, but working in film and being a pilot.
Absolutely. And for people who just have a passion for aviation like we do, it's hard to put into words. For me, I always loved aircraft, and it just came a time in my senior year in high school where my guidance counselor asked me, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I go to her, "I really love airplanes." And luckily, there was a college in New York City that, was a real college. I got my bachelor's in technology, and as you're getting your bachelor's, you're trained to get your mechanics A and P. I got my FCC license. My specialty was in avionics,
Cool.
so that will always be a part of me. Even though I have not touched an airplane in over 15 years, my love for aviation, so I totally get it. And congratulations on getting your IFR and all your ratings. And
Thank you. Yeah.
do you want to pursue that further? I mean, I know you said acting is your top choice, but I mean, look at John Travolta as an example. He's a pilot. I think he owns his own 727, and he
Yeah, he's
flies
got a
whenever.
bunch of ratings. Yeah.
Yeah, is that what you want to become? I mean, pursue acting, but also do aviation as well.
Yeah, I'd love to do both if I could, I'm pursuing, like I said, an instructor rating. So hopefully in the downtimes of filming, usually around the winter time, like we're in now, there's a little bit of a break around the holidays.
Yeah,
And I'd love to, fill that time up with some sort of aviation job, instructing it if that's what comes along.
yeah.
But in a perfect world, I'd be able to do both and keep both dreams alive, I guess.
You can do both. And, Caleb, I want to thank you so much. Guys, the movie is called Kids vs. Aliens. It's coming out to theaters, digital, and video on demand January 20th. This is not a family movie, so don't get fooled by the title. It's a horror movie. It has some light moments, and it's light with the dialogue with Caleb and Dominic and the back and forth between the kids and everybody. It's a great film. It has a little bit of everything. So make sure to check it out. I want to thank our guest again, Caleb, and thank our audience, those of you who are tuning in live and those who will be watching later on. On behalf of Calem MacDonald and myself, stay safe and stay walking. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.